Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Welcome to Protect and Grow with Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns of TJ Stearns Incorporated. Trust, respect, and results. TJ Stearns Incorporated focuses on comprehensive financial planning and benefits.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's CFP certified financial planner Tim Stearns here with us. Tim, welcome back in.
Hey, Pete, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. I'm doing well, Tim. Glad to see you. Hope you are. And of course, we hope that all the listeners across Chicagoland, savers and investors, are doing well and getting things back on track. We've talked a lot about that here recently, but Tim, ultimately, the goal of getting that savings plan and that investment plan and that retirement plan on track is to avoid what we're going to be talking about today. Going broke in retirement is the goal for all of us, not to go broke in retirement. How much do we need to retire? How much will that generate for income? How long will that last? The fear of running out is prevalent, but Tim, preventable.
I would agree, but I mean, you have to have a plan. Specifically, you have to have a spending plan. The spending plan is what allows you to spend with confidence. It includes allocating a specific portion of assets to structuring an income. People always come to us and ask, do I have enough? Well, I don't know. Do you? So what we do is we go through an income allocation plan with them, preserve and grow your money. And that's what we do. And I just the other day met with a couple, and he literally said he sleeps better at night knowing that he's got everything set, that everything's, he's got confidence in what he's doing.
Well, Tim, we talk on the program about the proprietary plan, the Protect and Grow plan that you design exclusively at TJ Stearns for the savers and investors that call in from the radio program or that come to one of your educational classes, that come and meet you either in person or virtually there at TJ Stearns. This Protect and Grow plan, really, that's going to provide a lot of confidence in this question of running out of money in retirement and help people avoid that.
Well, I mean, I always say to people, what's worse, the day you run out of money or the years leading up to it, that you are going to run out of money? It's not something any of us want to think about, but it's something that too many of us fail to actually plan to prevent. So confidence in retirement is quality of life, and confidence is fulfillment. And I really believe that you need to have a plan. People who say, I think I'm going to be okay, that scares me. I want them to know confidently that they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Hope is not a plan. That's why you need a plan, a true plan that goes through the math. And we talked about the math of figuring out many of these issues just a couple weeks ago on the program. By the way, if you ever want to listen to old segments of the show, old topics, go through the archives in the library, head to tjstearns.com. tjstearns.com is where all of that's archived, and you can get reports and tools and calculators. You can also from there request a free copy of the book, Income Allocation. And of course, you can request a time to speak with Tim Stearns or give a call. The first 10 callers to the program, Tim offers that book, Income Allocation. If you've got $500,000 saved for retirement in investable assets, this book is appropriate for your situation, and you can request and receive a free copy of Income Allocation. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. But Tim, that Protect and Grow plan, again, a proprietary plan. People get it at TJ Stearns, but it's a process. It's concise, consolidated, easy to understand language, a snapshot of where people are at, details on what their goals are, write them down so the dreams do actually become real goals, and then the process, the step-by-step actions they need to take in order to achieve those goals.
Right. And one of the reasons that people might run out of money is they're taking too much risk. I was just met with a couple the other day, and they had 80% of their money at the age of 65 in the stock market and 20% in bonds, which is not how it should be. If you're truly using asset allocation, which we don't advocate for, but I'm just saying, if that's how you're going to do things, and this gentleman is and his wife want to shut it down and retire, and I said, in order to reduce risk, we must identify what the risks are, to what extent they may affect us and how to address them. This is the planning process. It may seem arduous and pessimistic, but we make the bad things happen on paper and formulate plans to avoid them.
Well, and then you feel better after you've done that. On paper helps you to be prepared
Totally.
if they happen in real life. And Tim, you've got this article to coordinate with today's program about 10 behaviors of retirement savvy individuals. This is going to go a long way. To your point, number one is understanding that income is the foundation. It's your biggest wealth building or wealth preservation tool, and having a spending plan and sticking to it is going to allow you to spend with freedom, not limit the spending that you feel like you're able to do. It's going to allow you the confidence that you talked about retirement being all about.
Well, I mean, people, there's behaviors in retirement that I know of people that are successful, and I'll just go through a couple of them. I mean, number one, they understand that their income is their biggest wealth building tool. Number two, they make a monthly budget and stick to it. They don't go frivolously spending money on different things. They invest 15% of their household income on retirement. They have a long-term approach to investing. They have a plan and they update it as needed. That's one thing I will brag about us, is that all of our plans are dynamic. So if something changes, people are getting downsized or taking new jobs, et cetera, or, they just don't want to work anymore, we can change, on the fly to make sure that we get it right. They work together with their spouse if they're married. And what I mean by that is that, there's no reason that a husband and wife shouldn't be on the same page when it comes to retirement. One of the biggest things, they don't retire, they don't borrow from their 401k plans. That's huge. Another thing that they do is they buy long-term care insurance. 7 out of 10 Americans are going to need it, and 9 out of 10 of us have it. And they live below their means. They're not living above their means.
One out of 10 of us have it. The 9 don't, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That is,
yeah.
yes, correct. And they meet regularly with an investment professional. They don't just, hopefully I'll be okay. Hope is not a thing in retirement. You want to make sure that you're, it's solidified as to how you're going to do things.
Well, Tim, if this fear of running out of money is so prevalent and so common, maybe we need to identify the reasons that it may occur, right? And those behaviors you just mentioned, those are good ideas. Those are habits and routines that will help to prevent it. But specifically, what causes people to potentially run out of money? Nobody wants to, but it does happen. Most of that's probably from lack of awareness of the issues that could cause it.
Right. I mean, and some of the things that they do, that people I see that they have a fear of running out of money, is they withdraw too much too early. People want to enjoy retirement, and who doesn't? But what if we enjoy it too much? How do we know that what we can and what we cannot afford to do in retirement?
We've got that bucket list day one. We don't need to do it all in year one, right, Tim?
Right. I would agree. I'd agree. The other thing is, big expenses late. If we run into larger expenses, later in life, it could potentially run our assets dry.
Sure. Yeah. And Tim, you talked about the fact of your 10 behaviors of retirement savvy individuals, that they do have long-term care insurance.
Right.
Those numbers that you gave, a dramatic difference there in how many of us need it versus how many of us actually have it. This
Right.
is something that you help people to identify and address, and it does not have to be a spend it or lose it, or a use it or lose it type of proposition. And it's not as expensive a lot of times as a lot of people think it might be.
Yeah, it's gotten a bad rap. We don't sell long-term care standalones. We do hybrid products, like life insurance that would have that component on it. That if they can't do two of their activities of daily living, we can actually borrow against the death benefit. But I mean, you got to sell. You got to insure yourself against stuff like that. 7 out of 10 Americans are going to need it, and I can't get over that. People go, I don't need it. It's crazy to me.
And Tim, if we don't have it, then the next one on your list here, big expenses later in life, that can be a huge one, but certainly not the only one either.
Well, you figure in Chicagoland area, if you have significant long-term care needs, it's about $300 a day, and that can bleed someone dry real quick.
Sure. No, I've seen it anywhere from $8,000 a month to $12,000 to $15,000 a month,
Right.
depending on the level of care that you need, Tim. And these are, for the case of married couples, often in addition to the regular expenses of the healthy spouse. So
Right.
if we want to protect our spouse, ourselves and our spouse to the greatest extent possible, have to have a plan for how to deal with this. So again, withdrawing too much too early, big expenses later in life, just two of the initial reasons we might think of. But again, things that you can plan around. And if you would like that protect and grow plan in your hands to tell you how, for your situation, you are best to address these issues, pick up the phone, give Tim Stearns a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim will sit down with you in person or virtually, or just start with a phone call and a few questions. Get that plan in process, get that plan put together, documented in writing, get that plan in your hands. Simple, easy to understand steps and instructions, a snapshot of where you are, defined written goals, and the executable action items, the timeline, the steps you need to take in order to address them. Pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. But Tim, over retirement, the house runs down. We may need a new roof later in life. Again, healthcare, not the only one there. Big expenses later on, something to think about, as well as a reduction in income. A lot of times, Tim, this is a big one as well.
Right. You know, if our sources of income are cut short, you know, it may increase the chance that you might run out of money. You know, so why might income sources be cut or reduced? I mean, you have, if, you know, God forbid someone passes away, that usually the Social Security, you know, some of that goes away. You know, dividends can be cut, interest rates may fall, the yields might be reduced, rental or business income may change. The loss of a spouse impacts pensions and will impact Social Security. So these are things that you need to plan ahead for. Whenever we're doing planning for a husband and wife, we make sure that we're doing dual planning, you know, making sure that the income doesn't, it's based on both of them, not just one or the other.
Well, again, you know, Tim, these are things that we've got to think about. And for this one in particular, it's something that we've got to think about well ahead of time, because these reductions in income, they're not day one concerns. We count and rely on Social Security and pensions. And if we've got dividend income, we think that that's going to be around, but oftentimes we find that those change over time. I mean, everybody 20 years ago had GM as part of their portfolio because it had a great healthy dividend. Today, not so much. Sears, we thought would be around forever. Blockbuster Video, we thought would be around forever. Nothing that says that Amazon is going to be around forever, or that any of those collection of dividend stocks is going to continue to produce the level of dividends that we're counting and relying on now.
Well, you know, and that reminds me of one of the biggest risks that people don't take into account is longevity. You know, living a longer lifespan than planned for might be detrimental to our reserves. So if we only plan to live to 85 and life extends to 100, we run a high risk of running out of money and income. You know, the average male is living to be 85 and the female is 88. So those are, I mean, longevity is a real thing. You know, 30 plus year retirements are very real.
Well, we need to plan for longevity. That's the biggest risk, the risk multiplier, Tim, that we'll run into all of these other risks, maybe not once, but twice or multiple times. I'd much rather have a plan that takes me all the way through 120 and not make it there than only have a plan, Tim, that takes me through 85 and then make it through 95 or 100. But a lot of people feel like, hey, I'm not going to make it that long, so I don't need to plan that long.
Right. You know, if the markets falls, you know, especially if we are simultaneously taking withdrawals in retirement, it compounds the risk and increases the likelihood that we withdraw an unsustainable amount of income from our portfolio. We have a great handout that we show people. It's based on Bill and Jill. It's a brother and sister, and they're 3 years apart. And Bill retired in 1999, and Jill retired, 1996, and then Jill retired in 1999. And the difference of who has more money just based on the market faltering in her early years of retirement, that can absolutely kill a retirement.
And Tim, with a longer lifespan, we probably will see multiple market downturns or periods of bear market. We saw one in 2000 through 2001, 2002, 3 years there where the market was down, 2007, 2008, 2018. 2020 was a wild ride. Yeah, the market ended up, but there was no way to predict that at the time. So again, the market, and then compound that wild ride, Tim, we're taking money out along the way for income, and this dramatically increases, compounds on the risk that this is detrimental to the longevity of our plan.
Right. And one other thing that's very detrimental is inflation. We always tell people you need to make sure your dollar doubles every 22 years, because as living gets more expensive over retirement, it will require more and more of your portfolio value and an increasing larger percentage of withdrawals to sustain and maintain an income capable of producing a consistent quality of life. We have people who, I'll say they're do-it-yourselfers who want to, they have a plan, they have a spreadsheet that only they understand, their husband or wife doesn't even. And, I asked, do you have inflation in there? Well, no, I didn't think that's a real thing. Well, it's definitely a real thing.
Tim, how much do we anticipate inflation being a factor? I know last year, this was something that the Fed chief Jerome Powell talked about moving forward. The attitude was a little bit more laissez-faire, or even they were promoting some increase in inflation.
Right. And they've pegged it at 2.5%. So again, you need to make sure your money's growing, and staying up with it. Whenever we do our income allocation plans, we make sure that the income is rising every year, just to stay ahead of inflation.
So again, Tim, they're at TJ Stearns Inc. You, as a certified financial planner, you make your time available. You're helping people put together these protect and grow plans, because this fear of running out of money is legitimate. It's valid, but planning can help to address and alleviate that fear and that risk.
100%. And I think that that's a big thing, is that you want to retire with confidence. And if you are retiring hoping and trying to get through it, that's not a thing. You need to make sure that you have a solid plan in place.
Well, again, Tim, that protect and grow plan, that's your proprietary plan there at TJ Stearns. Can you describe that plan, the process that somebody goes through in order to get that plans in their hand, and then what the result of that plan is after they've gone through your process and review?
We make sure that people, they throw everything at us, all their assets, all their retirement plans and all that good stuff. Again, they're a dynamic plan, so if something changes, we can change with them. But we take into account everything but the kitchen sink, and make sure that we understand what the budgeting is. A lot of people, excuse me, think that it's you're not going to spend as much in retirement, and that's usually not true. It's about the same, unless you're going to downsize and that type of thing. Your house, because all the bills are still going to be there. And you just need to make sure that you're taking into account everything. So we do that. We take into account all their fixed costs, and then also, Social Security, if they have a pension, if they're lucky enough to have one, we take that into account. Their 401k assets, their Roths, everything, and make sure that we get through a 30+ year retirement.
Again, if you'd like that plan in your hands, if you'd like to go through that process, pick up the phone right now. Give Tim Stearns a call. He's a certified financial planner, a CFP, not charging for his time, not charging for the design of that plan. This is no cost, no obligation, truly no downside to placing this call. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Whether you are already in retirement, you're retirement minded, on the doorstep, in that red zone, in your transition period to retirement, or even years away from retirement, these are issues that need to be addressed and are addressed in that protect and grow plan. And if you'd like to get that in your hands, simple, easy to understand steps and language, executable action items on what you need to be doing or thinking about, 800-640-2256 is the number to call. 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. You can also go online, tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com. As an additional gift for the listeners, Tim, if they meet certain qualifications, because certain strategies are more appropriate for some, and maybe not so much for others, you are willing to help anyone, but you've got another gift that you give and make available to listeners that have saved and have at least $500,000 for their retirement.
Yes, and that's the book. The first 10 callers that give us a call, we'll get the book into their hands. We also have it digitally. But if anyone wants, the book is outstanding. Anyone who is going to retire, they have to have a game plan. This book spells it out to you and it boils it down so that it's really common sense approach to retirement.
Now, Tim, that book, Income Allocation, that specifically addresses the topic of the program today, which is the fear of running out of money, talks about these factors that we have listed, and then specifically how to structure the assets to address these issues.
Right. Exactly. And, and one of the big things that we need to worry about also in retirement is taxation. It's a big one and deserves some extra time and attention.
All right. Well, let's spend some time on it, because I think this one, Tim, at this point in time might be top of mind for a lot of planners, even those aggressive savers and investors, kind of double thinking a lot of what the future of taxes may look like.
Right. Well, I mean, taxes are big news right now, and all savers and investors need to be paying attention to that. On a regular basis, taxes are an issue that retirement account holders must understand will impact their income and their final balance. Not accounting for taxation or not accounting for how much tax will impact our balance and withdrawals can certainly lead us to having less than what we anticipate.
And Tim, a lot of folks right now with those big tax deferred balances, 401ks, they may look at that balance and quite rightfully so, be very proud of themselves and the work that they've done in getting that money saved. But that balance is not all yours. In fact, there is a debt. A lot of those people have probably worked very hard to become debt free. And then, Tim, they have a tax deferred balance. That is, in fact, a debt to the IRS.
Right. Right. And right now we have additional considerations. We have to think about the possibility of taxes going up in the near future, and not far distant future. I'm saying soon. This is happening now and could affect all of us.
What are some of the potential tax increases, Tim? Sorry to interrupt there. What are some of the ones that you're hearing about being discussed or that we already know are coming down the pipe?
All right. So one of the things that I've seen is that they're talking about estate taxes. It's supposed to sunset in 2026, and then it would come back down to about $5 million. Well, they've been talking about moving it down to like 3 million mark, which would capture a lot more assets. And remember, when it's the estate tax is in play, which again, the United States is the only country that has the estate tax, 40 cents on a dollar over the 3 million threshold, if that's something that you have. So that's another reason that we're telling people, you might want to buy some permanent life insurance to help pay down that. Some of the taxes we're hearing, corporate taxes could go from 21% to 28%, income and payroll taxes from 37 to 52%. Small business tax from 29.6 to 39.6, and lastly, capital gains and dividend taxes from 23.8 to 43.4%. Those are some hefty increases.
Yeah,
and those are things that we need.
So Tim, I mean, obviously the estate tax, that's a huge change there. But you speak about capital gains and dividends. This is something that specifically impacts retirees more frequently than it does almost any other group. This is a target on what a lot of people depend on for retirement income. And then for workers and savers, the income and the payroll tax, right? And then corporate taxes, small business taxes. I have to say, Tim, that anytime I hear about businesses paying more in taxes, I know that business generates its revenue from consumers, from individuals. And I just feel like that's by proxy going to be passed on to the customer at the end of the day. That's a tax on us, not on the business.
Right. Well, if they're going to raise the minimum wage, I mean, what's to stop us from having to buy a $10 hamburger, because I mean, it passed the buck along. It's going to be not good for anybody. And you're going to have people cutting, staff, like owners of companies that they don't want to pay, a minimum tax that's too exorbitant. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to happen that are going to, I don't think, be great for the United States.
So Tim, proactively, there are things that we can do, though, if we acknowledge that this is a concern, taxes into the future, or just the larger picture of what we've talked about, the impact to our bottom line, running out of money into the future, into retirement. Planning is the solution, and proactively right now, specifically for those taxes, that question, there are things that we probably need to be doing and acting on sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. And then you see that in retirement, Medicare is taxing people who have assets and have a good income. So that's another reason, with IRMA, which a lot of people don't even know about that. You know, the average person is paying, it starts at $154 and it's going up, to $400, $500 a month for one person.
Well, again, these are things that we need to look at in our planning. We need to have careful, thoughtful process for how to handle and how to address. You need to have a specific written plan. That's what the Protect and Grow plan is all about. And if you'd like to get that plan in your hands, typically just a few pages, but packed full of specific recommendations for your situation, things that you can understand and implement. And Tim Stearns there is a certified financial planner to walk you through that process. Pick up the phone right now. No cost, no obligation. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Tim, throw a number out there. What percentage of people that you're talking to right now would you say are concerned with the possibility of taxes changing into the future?
100%.
Almost all of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody. We teach classes at Roosevelt University as well as Harper College. And I've noticed that people are, I ask the room, and I don't care what political party you belong to, but they all, to a person, they say that taxes are going to go up.
Those classes, by the way, available online for free now as well, right?
Exactly. Yes. And hopefully we're going to get back into a classroom, because I felt like it was really giving something back to the community, that people really enjoyed the classes.
Well, no one wants to run out of money in retirement, but people still do. And a lot of that can probably be attributed to lack of solid planning
all day
on how to prevent it, or not knowing the issues that could lead to that. And so on today's program, very appropriate that we address those issues. And Tim Stearns, as a certified financial planner, can help you carry that a step further. Get the education, get the information, get the plan in your hands, and then you can talk about how to execute it and put it into action. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. That Protect and Grow plan, proprietary there. It's a process, it's a plan, it's a document. It is a confidence that you can only get through having that plan, and you can only get that at TJ Stearns. Pick up the phone, give them a call, 800-640-2256, and then you have the help and assistance of a certified financial planner to lead you through it. Again, Tim here as Chicagoland's CFP. We always appreciate your time, Tim, and thank you for providing the guidance that you do here on the program.
All right, Peter, thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland's certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program on 890 WLS every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.